On August 31, 2023, the Ministry of National Defense of China and the United States respectively confirmed that Su Kailing, Deputy Chief of Staff of the Joint Staff Department of the Chinese Military Commission, met with Aquilino, commander of the U.S. Indo-Pacific Command, in Fiji. This was the first meeting between senior generals of China and the United States after Pelosi, the Speaker of the U.S. House of Representatives, visited Taiwan in early August last year. Secretary of Defense Austin has already shaken hands during the Shangri-La Dialogue in Singapore, which means that the relationship between the Chinese and American militaries will unfreeze and resume contact. The resumption of contact between the Chinese and U.S. militaries means that the U.S. sausage-cutting tactic of Pelosi's visit to Taiwan has once again succeeded. Contact status. The sausage-cutting tactic is becoming the best tactic for the United States to deal with China. The so-called sausage-cutting tactic means that the United States does not do it in one step when it comes to violating China's sovereignty and territorial integrity, but advances gradually, just like cutting sausages one by one. It will cause China to protest or freeze Sino-US contact in a certain aspect, so as to give the Chinese people an explanation, and the relationship between the two countries will resume contact after a period of time. Then the United States stepped on China's next red line, cut off a piece of sausage, and kept cutting until Taiwan completely separated from China and the whole sausage was cut. Of course, the so-called until the end is for the sausage of Taiwan, not for China. For China as a whole, after cutting the sausage of Taiwan, it is time to find the next sausage and cut it one by one until the whole of China is disintegrated. This method in the United States is somewhat similar to the Lingji execution in ancient China. Instead of killing the prisoner with a single knife, the prisoner is slowly cut small by small with a blade until 3,600 pieces are cut, and then the prisoner is cut to death. This is how the United States is now cutting China's sausage, starting from selling arms to Taiwan in the 1980s, passing the Taiwan Relations Act, sending troops to Taiwan, restoring official relations with Taiwan, and passing resolutions in Congress let Taiwan enter the United Nations, and then not recognize the People's Republic of China as the only legal government of China, and then ask the United Nations to revoke Resolution 2758 that restores China's legal seat, and recently provide Taiwan with military financing that can only be provided to sovereign countries, etc. Taiwan is being cut away from China step by step. But China was completely fooled by the 50-cent party, thinking that as long as Taiwan does not declare independence, China will not lose Taiwan. This attitude from China is precisely what Western countries such as Taiwan and the United States need. When they saw that China had adopted the 50-cent party, they immediately announced publicly that Taiwan was already an independent country and had all the qualifications for an independent country. So the United Kingdom officially recognized Taiwan as an independent country for the first time on the day of the British Foreign Secretary's visit to China a few days ago, and it was the critical moment when the British Foreign Secretary claimed that the West's non-contact with China is a mistake in the Chinese media. It gave China a sap, made China unable to express its suffering, and did not even have a chance to protest, otherwise it would be self-slapping. The reason why the United States will adopt this sausage-cutting tactic against China is because they estimate that China's response will only be limited to verbal protests or a temporary freeze of certain aspects of relations, and there will be no substantive counterattacks. As Hillary said, China being slapped is nothing more than crying a few times, and there will be no major movements. That's why the United States cuts China down endlessly like this, and it probably won't stop until it cuts China into 7 or 8 pieces. Now that the Chinese and American militaries have resumed contact, the page of Pelosi's visit to Taiwan has been turned. The United States leads the rest of the world to restore official relations with Taiwan. This piece of sausage has been cut, and the next step is to allow Taiwan to join the United Nations. The U.S. Congress has passed a resolution allowing Taiwan to join the United Nations. The resolution of the Congress is the law that the United States must implement. From the present point of view, the United States plans to divide the sausage of allowing Taiwan to join the United Nations in 2 steps. The first step is to allow Taiwan to join the international human rights organizations and international health organizations of the United Nations. Officially become a member of the United Nations. The 2 steps taken by the United States are also more conducive to the Chinese 50-cent party's deceiving the common people into saying that these 2 organizations are not important. It will only make the Chinese people more aware of the essence of the United States, and prompt the end of the United States as soon as possible. Recently, on Taiwan and a series of other international issues, the 50-cent party has always used this invariable tone to deceive the common people. Whenever the United States and other Western countries violate China's interests, the 50-cent party will immediately shout that this is a great thing, and let the Chinese people, if you recognize the United States more clearly, the United States will soon be finished. The United States has used the public opinion of the 50-cent party to cut the sausage successfully before, and it will definitely use the public opinion of the 50-cent party to push Taiwan into the United Nations. What should China do in the face of the sausage-cutting strategy of the United States? The answer is simple, just like Chairman Mao's countermeasure of tit for tat, not giving an inch to the United States, any measures taken against the United States violation of China's sovereignty and territory. Therefore, before the United States gives up its violation of China's sovereignty and territory, it will never resume its original policy towards the United States under any circumstances. For example, this time, since China has frozen the contact between the Chinese and American militaries only for the United States to resume official relations with Taiwan, China will never resume the contact between the Chinese and American militaries until the United States abandons the restoration of official relations with Taiwan. Let the United States cut off its own fingers every time it cuts sausages. Only in this way will the United States end this sausage-cutting strategy. Here the Chinese must give up the most absurd and harmful statement, that is, the so-called China's power is not enough now, and it can only develop peacefully, and when it becomes stronger in the future, it will compete with the United States. Everyone can think about it. If China does not even allow the United States to survive independently, how can it make China stronger? Peace is always the choice of the strong, and the weak have no right to choose peace. The weak who want to choose peace are tantamount to choosing death voluntarily.